Good morning, I'm Gretchen Ho. We're coming to you on the 8th day of October. It is a Wednesday, bringing you Morning Matters because your mornings matters. Get to the stories that matter today. President Bongbong Marcos has appointed Justice Secretary Boying Remulla as the new Ombudsman. The appointment is now sparking concern over whether Remulla himself can hold high-ranking officials accountable for corruption. Meanwhile, the search is on for the next Blue Ribbon Committee chairman. This after Senator Ping Lacson affirmed his decision to vacate the powerful Senate post. And a week after a magnitude 6.9 earthquake in northern Cebu is still being rattled by aftershocks. Now, adding to the problem, more and more sinkholes are appearing in areas affected by the strong quake. Welcome to our program, Morning Matters, where we talk about the issues you need to know for the rest of your day. Now, first on the agenda, Justice Secretary Boying Remulla has been named by President Bongbong Marcos as the country's new ombudsman. His appointment comes despite past controversies and at a time when the office faces sensitive cases involving high-ranking officials. More in this report.
Despite doubts, President Bongbong Marcos has chosen Justice Secretary Boying Remulla as the new ombudsman. Remulla's path to the position wasn't easy. He once faced a complaint filed by Senator Amy Marcos over the arrest of former President Rodrigo Duterte, a case that was eventually dismissed by the ombudsman. Now, Remulla himself takes on the role of the people's watchdog. He promises transparency and accountability.
Magkakaroon ng ganong media office, I think that there will be more interviews and more news coming from the Ombudsman's office. Sapagkat yung tao naghahanap talaga ng transparency and accountability sa taong bayan. At nung hiningi ko yung trabahong ito, yun ang sa isip ko talaga na yung accountability mapalakas natin sa lahat. Bukod sa iba pang mga tungkulin na pwede nating gampanan.
According to Remulla, President Marcos himself ordered him to hold corrupt officials accountable.
Sabi niya, yung accountability of public officers, pangalagaan mo talaga. At hinahanap ng taong bayan yan. At ako naman siyempre, yun naman ang hinahanap kong trabaho eh. Yun ang aking hiningin trabaho sa kanya. Kaya nagkasundo naman kami dyan. Noong naging DOJ Secretary ako, ang unang-una kong tinanggal, weaponization ng batas. And it will not be weaponized. Sisiguraduhin ko sa lahat yan. Wala itong sisinuhin. Ang trabaho ng ombudsman para sa buong Pilipinas, hindi sa isang kampo ng politika. Kaya wala tayong sisinuhin dito.
Remulla carries a heavy responsibility. He will handle cases against government officials from administrative to criminal. The Independent Commission for Infrastructure is set to submit evidence to the Ombudsman over anomalous flood control projects which could lead to cases before the Sandigan Bayan. Remulla says he won't allow delayed tactics in handling cases. He will also oversee complaints against Vice President Sara Duterte involving alleged misuse of over 600 million pesos in confidential funds in OVP.
Nandiyan na yan eh. Actually, nandiyan na naman sa Ombudsman ang mga report na yan. At bubuklatin natin, pag-aaralan, at tatanungin natin yung mga may hawak doon ngayon. Mga may hawak at yung may tungkulin na hawakan ng mga kasong yon bago tayo dumating.
He also supports lifestyle checks and the public disclosure of officials' sell-ins as long as the process is legal. Malacanang meanwhile defended his appointment.
We have the highest confidence in Secretary Remulla. I wouldn't say that he's the most controversial. As I said, there is a vetting process which is provided for by our Constitution and our laws, and he went through that very rigorous process. At the end of the day, after the President receives the recommendation from the JVC, it's still the decision of the President.
On Thursday, Remulla is set to take his oath as the new Ombudsman. At the Department of Justice, Undersecretary Frederick Vida will serve as officer in charge. For News 5, Camille Samonte, We Are One News.
We have a new ombudsman, and to react to that, we have on the show retired Supreme Court Associate Justice Antonio Carpio, a respected voice on constitutional law and governance. Good morning. Welcome back to Morning Matters.
Good morning, Gretchen. Good morning to our viewers.
Okay, first of all, your reaction to the appointment of Secretary Remulla as the new ombudsman, do you think it was based on merit or on other considerations?
Well, actually, Boying Remulla was my student in law school, and he was hardworking and came to class always prepared. And he carried that work ethic in the DOJ. You can see that in his investigation of the Sabongeros killings and also in the flood control project. He has been pursuing these investigations with determination. So I think he will carry that same work ethic in the Ombudsman. And he comes to the Ombudsman at a very critical juncture in our history because the people is losing faith in all institutions of government because of the massive corruption as shown in the flood control project scam. No? And so he is in a position to reverse the tide. It's a unique position. If he performs his duties well, he investigates, he leads, he pursues, he prosecutes everybody based on the evidence without any selective prosecution, without any discrimination, then he just might turn the tide. He just might restore faith in the government because the people really is losing faith in all institutions of the government today.
He does not come to this office without controversy, though. We do know he did sign off on the handing over of the former president to the ICC, then to The Hague, right? And which was the case that was filed upon the ombudsman. Pero yun nga, katanungan ng lahat, ano na po nangyari doon? He is one of the most loyal soldiers of the president, which does not make a surprise with this decision. But others would say, how do we begin to trust this office if he has been a controversial choice, a polarizing personality in politics?
Well, in the putting in the plane former President Duterte and sending him to The Hague, he used as basis an existing law that the government can choose, since we are no longer a member of the ICC, there's a law which says that the government can choose whether to turn over a person accused of crimes against humanity, turn him over to an international tribunal or prosecute him here. And the decision was to turn him over. So there was basis to do that under the law. People may not like it, but there is a ground for that under the law. And that was questioned before the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court did not issue a TRO. So it's controversial in the sense that it could have gone either way, but that was a decision also anchored on the law. And on the fact that he is very close to the president, well, that's natural. We have to. That's why the people must be very vigilant. Must watch every move of the ombudsman. That's why I'm saying the big question now is: can he prosecute without discrimination, without selective prosecution? Because people will say that he will only prosecute the political opponents of the administration. But we will be watching that, and he knows that if he does that, this will backfire not only on him but on the president. That's why I'm sure he understands that that will destroy his image, that will destroy the president also. So he has to prosecute everybody and prosecute based on the evidence. Wherever the evidence leads him, then he goes there. So that we will be watching.
But isn't his choice and his being in this office also a matter of political survival, given the events happening now with a possible Vice President Sara Duterte presidency in 2028, which Senator Amy Marcos has brought up herself, that this was done to prevent or stop Sara Duterte from running. Your thoughts on that, and your thoughts on, I guess, how he will be able to diffuse the tension, because inevitably, right, whatever he does will be politically tainted, especially by the opposition, which are the Duterte supporters.
Well, the cases against VP Sara are already filed with the Ombudsman, and he has to investigate that and go where the evidence leads him. And if there is cause to file a case, then he should do what is required under the law. But he should not be selective. He should go after the allies of the president who are also involved in anomalies, like the allies of former Speaker Martin Romualdez. As long as he does that, as long as he's not selective, the people can gauge that, then he cannot be criticized because he is fair. What is to be avoided is selective prosecution. He should prosecute everybody based on the evidence. And with that, the people will support him. So if you say that, oh, he will go after the vice president or somebody else, well and good, let him go after based on the evidence, but it should not be selective. He should also go after allies of the president who have cases before him and where the evidence is strong.
He was the first to diffuse the tension. Sabi po niya, the law will not be weaponized at he will kumbaga, he will go after accountability of all public officers.
The first thing that he should do is to lift the prohibition on the public disclosure of SAL-ends of public officials. Because that's the number one thing that will turn the tide on transparency, because the previous ombudsman refused to make public the SAL-ends of public officials. Of course, you have to block out certain private information which are not material, like the address of the people, the names of children. But otherwise, anything that has to do with the state assets and liabilities must be disclosed.
And I want to go to the Judicial Bar Council, because Senator Amy Marcos turned the attention that way. Sabi niya, kailangan tingnan na rin o pangalagaan kung sino magiging parte nito. Sino po ba yung Judicial Bar Council? Who makes that body up? Are they appointed and by whom?
Yes, the membership is laid out in the Constitution. The Chief Justice automatically is the chair. And then you have one representative from Congress. The House and the Senate take turns and in filling up this representative. You have a representative from the law faculty, from the professors appointed by the president. You have a representative from the IBP appointed by the president upon recommendation of the IBP. And you have a representative from the retired justices and judges appointed also by the president. So the membership is very clear. And they have a term of 4 years, no? But they may be reappointed.
Elected by based po dun sa sa mga grupo po nila.
Based on the provision of the Constitution.
All right. Okay. Now let's go to what the Constitution says on the Ombudsman's role. Help us understand the powers of this Ombudsman. You were the one who says that this is a unique office. It is not part of the executive, legislative, and the judiciary. So ano po ang niya, ang papel po niya, at ano po yung lawak ng kanyang kapangyarihan?
Well, I call the Office of the Ombudsman the second most powerful office in the Philippine government. It's constitutionally created. It's independent, financially autonomous, and
That's what you just said.
yeah, and the ombudsman has a fixed term of 7 years, and he can investigate anybody in government. Motu proprio, even without a complaint from anyone. If he reads in the papers that there are some anomalies, he can investigate on his own. So it's a very powerful office, and he's not under the supervision of the president. He's independent.
Okay. And what are his powers? Are they administrative or can he also, when it comes to the criminal cases, ito po i-file po niya sa mga korte?
Well, he has administrative power. He has a disciplinary authority over all government officials, except those who are impeachable. So, anybody in government who has committed violated the law can be investigated and administratively disciplined by the ombudsman, except for those who are impeachable, and the and also the members of the judiciary, and the members of Congress, because that's a separate body. But all the rest of the officers in government can be investigated and disciplined. Discipline means he can, if the evidence supports it, he can, based on substantial evidence only, he can suspend or terminate, dismiss from public service these government officials.
For life, can he do that?
Yes,
Okay.
it can be for life. But that is administrative. There is no criminal liability because for
Okay.
criminal cases, he has to file it before the Sandigan Bayan.
All right. When it comes to the Vice President's case on the use of confidential funds, what are the scope of his powers if he cannot punish them administratively because the Vice President is an impeachable official? So ano po ang pwede niyang gawin doon?
He can investigate because he can investigate any officer, including impeachable officers, but he cannot act on it. He will have to, if it's an impeachable officer, then he has to refer his findings to the House for the House to initiate the impeachment. But he can investigate, but up to that point only, and refer the results of his investigation to the House if the officer is an impeachable officer. But all public officers, all public employees file their statement of assets and liabilities. And in the statement of assets and liabilities, there's a statement there that the government official signing that SALN authorizes the ombudsman to verify the assets and liabilities with any appropriate government agency. And that appropriate government agency includes the Anti-Money Laundering Council. So the ombudsman is authorized to get the bank records of any public official with stored in the files of the Anti-Money Laundering Council. That is a very powerful tool.
So kasama po doon yung mga SALN, itong ng mga officials. So pwede
Yes.
niya pong buksan yun without getting any permission.
Yes, he doesn't have to go to court to
Wow,
open the
okay.
bank accounts, but not
Okay.
he cannot go direct to the bank itself, only to
Unlock.
only government banks because they are government agencies, but not private banks. But all these private banks under the AMLA law send all deposits beyond 500,000. They report all these deposits to AMLA, and AMLA has all the records. And AMLA is a
okay.
government agency, so he can get those records with the Anti-Money Laundering Council.
Okay. Justice, I know you need to go, but I just have one last question. When it comes to the flood control probe, what are the powers of the Ombudsman in looking into the names of the senators and the congressmen who have been brought up here? In 2016, Ombudsman Conchito Carpio Morales ordered the dismissal of Senator Joel Villanueva for a 2009 pork barrel case involving 9 million pesos. But the Senate refused to honor the order, saying that the Ombudsman is barred from imposing administrative sanctions against legislators, the judiciary, and impeachable officials. Your thoughts on that?
Yes, there is that reluctance of the Senate, and even the House will do that. So what the Ombudsman should do is to file the case before the Sandigan Bayan.
Kahit,
And then the Sandigan Bayan will order the preventive suspension.
But you say reluctance, so hindi naman po siya bawal na bawal talaga? O bawal?
Well, it's a question of, that has to be brought to the Supreme Court
Okay.
to decide once and for all whether the Ombudsman can dismiss, suspend, or dismiss a member of the House or of the Senate. We need that ruling because it's being resisted by the House and the Senate, so we need a ruling on that.
Okay, maraming salamat. It is good to know about the second most powerful position in the land, which is the Office of the Ombudsman. And we now have a new Ombudsman, that is Secretary Boying Remulla, or former Secretary Boying Remulla. Maraming salamat for joining us today. We have retired Supreme Court Associate Justice Antonio Carpio. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Gretchen. Thank you to our viewers.
Don't go away. We'll be back with more stories after a quick break. Keep it here on One News. Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here in One News. Senate President Pro Tempore Ping Lacson is standing by his decision to resign as chairman of the Blue Ribbon Committee, despite appeals from fellow senators for him to stay on. Here is the report.
When I say no, it's no. When I say yes, it's yes.
Sir, may recommendation po kayo. So wala na, sir.
Final answer na, no, na-resign na.
Senate President Pro Tempore Ping Lacson will not retract his resignation as chairman of the Blue Ribbon Committee. Several senators, including Lito Lapid and Kiko Pangilinan, urged him to continue leading the investigation into anomalies in flood control projects. But Lacson remains firm in his decision.
Dapat mag-stay put siya kasi siyempre kaya-kaya naman niya yan eh. Nirespeto natin kung anong mga desisyon niya. Nandun siya pero kailangan siya talaga na alam naman natin straight yan kung mag-investigasyon.
Senate President Tito Soto has accepted Lacson's decision.
Ayaw talaga.
Ayaw na. Finally, decision, sir.
Oo, parang mas magiging effective siya as a critic. Diba?
So we need to
baka
raise...
blessing in disguise.
He added that the next Blue Ribbon chairman may be named today after the scheduled majority caucus. Potential replacements include Senators Pia Cayetano, J.V. Ejercito, Risa Hontiveros, Kiko Pangilinan, and Rafi Tulfo. Ejercito, however, immediately turned down the possibility.
Papasalamat ako sa tiwala. Alam ko limitasyon ko, mas marami ang tingin kong mas may kakayanan ang mag-lead ng committee.
Mas gusto niya na manatili siya.
Mas gusto niya. Kasi walang may gusto ngayon sa ngayon eh. So, tsaka nagkaliwanagan naman eh.
Tulfo also declined, explaining that he doesn't want to lose focus on the three committees he chairs: Labor, Migrant Workers, and Public Services. Senators Hontiveros and Cayetano have not yet made any statements. Meanwhile, Senator Amy Marcos said members of the minority are unhappy with how the Blue Ribbon hearings are being handled.
Bakit tinigil ang Blue Ribbon at saka yung huling dalawang hearing na parang pinipigilan kami. Kaya hindi na ako umattend kasi parang gusto nila hanggang kay Congressman Saldi ko lamang.
Senator Mark Villar appeared before the Independent Commission for Infrastructure as a resource person in its ongoing inquiry into alleged flood control anomalies. Villar, who served as Public Works Secretary from 2016 to 2021, clarified that he did not appoint former Bulacan 1st District Engineer Henry Alcantara, though Alcantara was promoted during his term.
So he is organic sa Department of Public Works. Okay.
Also present in yesterday's ICI proceedings were contractors Curly and Sara Discaya. They requested an additional 7 days to submit more documents, a request the commission granted.
It went well. The senator just explained the processes he applied or he used during the time that he was DPWH secretary, with regard to how he managed the department.
Senator Jingo Estrada has filed a perjury case against former DPWH engineer Bryce Hernandez. Estrada lodged 4 counts before the Quezon City Prosecutor's Office after Hernandez accused him of receiving a 30% kickback from Bulacan projects. Estrada denied the claim, calling Hernandez a liar. Hernandez's lawyer said they have yet to receive the complaint but insisted that the case is only meant to silence a whistleblower.
Ang sabi ni Bryce Hernandez, tumatanggap daw akong kickback na 30%. Meron daw akong tinanggap. Tinuro niya si Henry Alcantara. Nung nag-testify si Henry Alcantara, binanggit yung pangalan ko, pero sinabi niya wala akong transaksyon. Wala siyang transaksyon sa akin. So paano siya magbibigay ng pera sa akin kung wala siyang transaksyon sa akin?
The Makati Business Club is pushing for digitalization as a key tool to fight corruption. MBC Executive Director Rafael Apa Ongpin told The Big Story that reducing human intervention through digital systems can help make corruption more difficult, if not impossible. He pointed out that while the government procurement law itself may not be flawed, loopholes in the implementing rules and practices often allow cooked bidding terms that favor certain contractors. The group has also expressed support for eventually using blockchain in governance, but Ongpin stressed that widespread digitalization must come first before such tools can be effective.
That's what digitalization is, right? Now, you have things like in the infrastructure sector, right? The biddings are cooked, right? And they're cooked in many ways. One of the ways is the terms of reference, okay? The terms of reference are arranged so that only certain contractors will qualify.
Stay tuned. Morning Matters will be back after a quick break. Keep it here. Good morning, I'm Gretchen Ho, and here you are watching Morning Matters. Caloocan 2nd District Representative Edgar Erice likened Congress to a burning house, accusing his colleagues of fueling massive corruption. In his privileged speech, Erice claimed that 1.45 trillion pesos in insertions and diversions from the 2023 to 2025 budgets went to ghost and substandard projects, allegedly benefiting powerful lawmakers. He urged Congress to give the Independent Commission for Infrastructure contempt powers to require the release of all budget documents and to finally pass the anti-political dynasty law, challenging even President Marcos and Vice President Sara Duterte to support it.
Noong mga nakaraang Kongreso, may mga apoy na. Ngunit sa 19th Congress, sadyang pinasiklab ang dambuhan ng sunog at ngayon, naglalagablab na rin ang galit ng sambayanan. Lalo na ng mga kabataan. Pakiramdam nila, sinusunog natin ang kanilang kinabukasan.
ML Party List Representative Laila De Lima urged newly appointed Ombudsman Boying Remulla to prove his independence and loyalty to the Filipino people. De Lima said Remulla's mandate is to protect the public, not his relatives or political allies. She called on him to fast-track investigations into alleged corruption in flood control projects, stressing that all those involved must be held accountable, regardless of rank or connections. De Lima added that Remulla now has an opportunity to restore public trust by ensuring swift and impartial justice. And to talk more about the appointment of Boying Remulla as Ombudsman, we have with us on the show Mamamayang Liberal Party List Representative Laila De Lima. Good morning, Congresswoman. Welcome back.
Good morning, Gretchen. Good morning to your listeners and viewers.
Congresswoman, we had Justice Antonio Carpio earlier and we asked for his reaction. At sabi po niya, naging estudyante niya itong si Secretary Remulla, hardworking daw at he's shown to have political will when it comes to, for example, the missing Sabongeros case. Do you agree with that? Was he a strong candidate for you for the office of the Ombudsman? Or do you have your qualms about this appointment?
I basically and essentially agree with the belief that he has strong political will. Meron siyang tapang, meron siyang courage. Ang kailangan na lang na i-prove niya, ipakita niya sa atin, yung kanyang independence. Nawala siya talaga siyang sasantuhin. No sacred cows. So without fear or favor, he will be fulfilling his mandate because his is a very sensitive, it's a very important, significant mandate. Lalo na sa ngayon, lalo na sa mga nangyayari ngayon. It's actually a most challenging mission of a lifetime, yung pagiging ombudsman ngayon. So yun ang kailangan pa niyang ipakita sa sambayanan na kaya niya na magpanagot, mag-imbestiga ng seryoso, honest to goodness, na magpanagot kahit sino pa man siya, kahit sino ka mataas na opisyal ng ating bayan. Basta may ebidensya, kailangan talagang mapanagot. Pero yung in terms of courage, in terms of political will, I think we can trust him with us. He has the right personality. He has the right mindset. He has the right direction. So, as I said, I have to show enough and genuine independence as to the fulfillment of his mandate.
How difficult would that be for him, knowing that he is deeply entrenched in the political system? He comes from the Remulla family. And what actions would you like to see from him? I guess the first actions to demonstrate impartiality.
Well, actually, you just really have to take seriously his mandate. Yes, we can say that he is essentially and primarily and originally a political animal because he started in the field of politics. He ran for office in Congress a long time politician. And that is why that would be his most difficult challenge, to divest himself of political interest, to divest himself of political consideration. Again, no sacred cows. Not even, a consideration of the appointing authority, the president. You should not take that into consideration. No one is supposed to be beyond accountability. Not even the appointing authority. Not even his relatives who are mostly also in politics and also in government positions that who are potential subjects of investigation that can be a possible risk of his mandate.
There are those who criticize the choice as a clear effort to prevent a Sara Duterte presidency in 2028. Do you think that criticism has any basis?
Pardon? Again, please. You're not coming in clear.
There are those who criticize. There are those who criticize his choice as a move to prevent a Sara Duterte presidency in 2028. Do you think that criticism has basis?
Actually, that is an unfair criticism. Kasi nga sa ngayon, ang talagang kailangan yung matapang na ombudsman. And, yung mga, kasi in the first place, napaka-unfair naman talaga yung mga ginawa nila. Their moves to block the ombudsman bid of Boying Remulla. They filed one case after another. And I should say these were actually baseless These were harassment suits. Yung tungkol nga doon sa implement ng warrant of arrest ng ICC, pag-assist in the implementation of Interpol dun sa warrant of arrest as issued by the ICC. That was a valid and lawful warrant of arrest issued by independent tribunal with competent jurisdiction. So what were they talking about? Nasabi nila it was a case of unlawful arrest. It was a case of kidnapping. Of course not. So yun ang kanilang basis ng sunod-sunod na mga kaso. Up to the very last minute, they were trying to block the yung bid sa JBC, Judicial and Bar. It's improper. It was quite unfair. So this allegation that it was part of, it's now a part of blocking the presidency, the possible presidential bid of the vice president is, I think, without basis. Kailangan na ngayon ng katulad ni Boying Remulla as Ombudsman. It is the call of the time, because of the very serious situation our country is now facing.
So you don't believe that has merit, yung ganun pong agam-agam? Maaaring magamit po yung opisina ng Ombudsman for political retribution and political survival?
I don't think so. And I think it's part of the challenge kay newly appointed Ombudsman Boying Remulla na ipakita niya na yung kanyang magiging moves, especially in terms of investigation, ay walang mga partisan or political colors, but it should be purely based on the evidence and the law. Yun dapat ang kasama sa magiging challenge sa kanya.
But you said it is the call of the times to have Boying Remulla as Ombudsman.
It's clarion call. Yeah.
Why? Why do you say that? How did the past Ombudsman perform for you, in your opinion?
Well, the past Ombudsman, look, okay, ang daming issues surrounding the performance of the former Ombudsman. Look at his stand dun sa SAL-N. So what kind of an Ombudsman would be putting a lot of restrictions about the SAL-N and also about the lifestyle check. So I think Ombudsman Boying Remulla should now revisit the policies of the former Ombudsman Samuel Martires on SAL-N. Dapat transparent, but with enough safeguards to avoid abuses naman on the disclosures of SAL-Ns. Also the lifestyle check. There should be stronger mechanisms on the employment or adoption of the lifestyle check. Isa yan sa napaka-importante na mga mechanism to check on yung mga abusive practices, excesses ng mga public officials natin. So yung mga ganyang mga policies ng Ombudsman, they have to be revisited by the new Ombudsman. So napaka-effective actually yung former Ombudsman, and that is why I think it contributed significantly sa situation natin ngayon that we really now have a very serious problem about corruption. I call now the state of corruption as a syndicated official corruption. Yung nangyayari ngayon, especially sa infrastructure and flood control projects.
Before we go there, as I wanted to talk about the ICI probe, but I'd just like to ask about how the appointment of Boying Remulla changes the bid to hold the Vice President accountable for the use of confidential funds. Alam po natin na marami pong mga grupo nag-aantay ng Pebrero para mag-file ng isa pang impeachment case. Paano po kaya magbabago yung dynamic na yan? Although the Vice President is an impeachable official, At sabi po ni Justice Carpio, pwede lamang no, mag-file ng kaso before the Sandigan Bayan. Your thoughts on that? How does this influence the impeachment?
Well, okay. For one thing, even if the vice president is an impeachable official, nothing naman can prevent an appropriate agency or an appropriate official like the Ombudsman from undertaking investigation for the purpose of filing appropriate cases later on. Diba? Kasi for yung impeachment naman kasi that's for the purpose of removing an impeachable official because he or she cannot be removed from office except through impeachment. But pero later he can be subjected to other cases, to prosecution, to a civil and a criminal prosecution for the purpose of filing those cases later. For example, for plunder cases, nothing can prevent the Office of the Ombudsman from already starting some kind of an internal investigation or gathering evidence or fact-finding. Wala namang ganong constitutional or legal prohibition. But of course, kung tungkol sa impeachment, since ganon ang nangyari sa Supreme Court at sa Senado, na nila yung impeachment sa complaint, yung articles of impeachment, then people play that to wait until February kung hindi marireconsider. And it looks like it na hindi nga marireconsider. Wala man lang nga tayong naririnig pa from the Supreme Court on the various motions of the
Oo nga po, medyo matagal-tagal na.
Before it. Oo nga.
But one thing that Justice Carpio mentioned, no, ito may power ang Ombudsman to get bank documents from AMLA, and including the SALN. So, maaring maisiwalat. Pero let's go to the ICI probe. You said you called on Congress to or rather the President to certify as urgent a bill giving ICI more teeth. What kind of bill is running through Congress right now? And where do you think these investigations are headed? Kasi po, in Congress, nag-wrap up na po yung mga hearings po ninyo on flood control. In the Senate, it looks like it's headed in the same direction. Ano po ang aasahan ng taong bayan po dito?
Okay. Talaga namang hinihintay na namin yung ang aksyon ng House leadership tungkol sa aming House Bill number 4453. 13 or 13 po yung nag-pumirma ng House Bill number 4453. Nagtataka lang kami, wala pang access tungkol doon yung House leadership, although nakausap na po namin si Speaker, the new Speaker, OGD, very open and receptive naman po siya dyan sa House Bill yan na magbibigay ng seat at mas malakas, more powers sa isang independent commission dahil nga po yung Executive Order number 94 na nag-create ditong ICI sa tingin namin does not have enough seat, lalo na yung contempt power. Wala pong contempt powers. Tapos hindi pa po siya open and public yung proceedings. At napaka-importante po niya na dapat open and open to the public or transparent yung proceedings. Sa aming bill, dapat po talaga open to the public ang proceedings. Tapos, tungkol din po sa sunset clause, sa PO number 94. Para sa amin, nakakaduda po yun. Yung sunset clause po, sabi sa section 10 ng PO 94, yung ICI ay magiging functions official, yung kanyang mandate o matatapos na po yung kanyang mandate, yung kanyang existence, kapag tapos na yung kanyang trabaho, or unless sooner resolved by the President, ay nakakaduda po yun. Ang sa amin naman po, sa aming bill, may term po siyang 2 years para meron pong sense of urgency. Unless, hindi po talaga kaya sa lawak at sa dami na mga dapat gawin. Pero, pwede naman po ina-attend ng Kongreso.
Congresswoman,
Ilan lang po yun. Ilan lang po
posible
yun
po
sa
kaya
mga
tingin niyo po ba posible ang investigasyon na walang sinasanto? Kasi nga po parang yung iba po ay nagsasabi na baka, actually si Senator Amy Marcos na po nagsabi, mukhang ang gusto lamang dito ay si Zaldico lamang yung managot. At hindi na po ito, kumbaga parang hindi na lahat ay titignan dito sa mga kasong ito. So, do you think it is possible at this point, the way things are going? Or will it be selective justice all over again?
Kaya nga po, mas gusto po namin na ang komisyon na yan ay something to exercise on Congress. Kasi mas truly independent po ang isang Congress-created commission kaysa a presidential creation. Kahit anong sabihin po na ito ay independent, yung ICI, hindi po pwede talaga maituturing na truly or genuine na independent ang isang body na created under an EO. Unlike yung isang batas na talagang truly independent with enough powers ng kanyang sakop ay lahat, hindi lang yung mga agencies ng gobyerno, yung kanyang compulsory powers. Kaya po, yun ang pinaka-aim talaga ng aming House Bill. Wala talaga siyang sasantuhin kahit sa Office of the President kung halimbawa talaga may ebidensya na itutukoy mismo doon sa Office of the President o saan man, kahit mga independent bodies o mga independent commission, lahat. Kaya nga po sinusulong namin ito at nakikiusap po kami sa House leadership tsaka sa Pangulo mismo kung pwede po i-certify na kaagad as urgent itong bill na ito, House Bill 4453.
We hope you do keep beating the drum on this as the public is looking for answers and for resolutions on this. In the meantime, maraming salamat po para sa inyong oras. We have mamamayang Liberal Party List Representative Laila De Lima joining us this morning.
Maraming salamat, Gretchen. Have a good day.
Don't go away. We got more matters to discuss after a quick break. Keep it here. Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here in One News. 4 trucks remain stuck on the collapsed Pigatan Bridge in Alcala, Cagayan. The bridge's steel beams buckled after the heavily loaded trucks carrying tons of agricultural products crossed at the same time, far exceeding the 18-ton weight limit. 7 people were injured and rushed to the hospital. Authorities have closed the Pigatan Bridge, which has stood since 1974, and designated alternate routes for motorists. Public Works Secretary Vince Dizon is expected to personally inspect the bridge.
Inaagam ko pa ngayon. Parang hindi pa nila mahanap kung kailan gas retrofit. So, yun, isang problema yun. No? So, kailangan imbestigahan ko din yun.
Residents in northern Cebu continue to experience aftershocks following the magnitude 6.9 earthquake that struck the province last week. In Barangay Luyang, San Remigio, locals fear that each tremor is causing sinkholes to widen and deepen, endangering nearby homes and schools. The San Remigio local government has recorded at least 36 sinkholes across the town since the quake. Now, despite the destruction, residents in Bogos City have been offering free fruits and vegetables to volunteers and donors passing by, a gesture of gratitude to those delivering aid to affected areas. Authorities continue to monitor aftershocks in Cebu as assessments and relief operations remain underway. And that wraps up today's episode of Morning Matters. We hope we've given you the right start to your morning. Let's go ahead and make the day matter. My name is Gretchen Ho. We are One News, all sides, all the time.